So you can hear me now, I'm a veteran of more Deacon maniacs than I can possibly count, and that makes me the same as you guys. Welcome, folks. Thank you, Paul. We're going to do a Q&A. I'm going to ask you some questions, then we're going to have some questions from the floor. You've already shown me you can shout from the floor tonight, and thanks for that, because we're going to be asking you that in 15 minutes to do just that with your questions. Ricky, we're going to start with you tonight. Welcome home, and to you, Gregor. Hey, it's a home crowd for you tonight.
Well, it's a long time since I've lived in Glasgow longer than I've lived in Dundee, but I love coming home, obviously.
So many of the Deacon Blues songs over the years are rooted in Glasgow, and I would say that's the same for some of the songs on this album, but there are a couple on this album, one which I've already played tonight, How We Remember It, that are rooted in Dundee, in this place, and the other one being Mid-Century Modern, which is a big favourite of mine. I'm sure some people in the crowd have already heard it. Tell us a bit about how much Dundee continues to influence you as a songwriter.
Well, I think, you know what happens. Can we turn that music off?
Is there another gig going on in here somewhere?
I think what happens with me, with anyone actually, to be honest with you, is the place that you grew up in, especially the place that your young years, and I was here till I was early 20s, that really never goes away. It's an amazing influence. And I would kind of always joke, every time I drive to Greg's, Greg lives in the ferry, and I'll come through to his place to work in his studio and so on, and I always make a point of just passing my old house. And one time I did a documentary, as a TV documentary, and we got into my old house, which was very strange. And I went back really excitedly. I went back to my mum and dad. I said, "Listen, I know the guy that lives in our old house. We can get in there." And they looked at me like just horror, appalled. We don't want to do that. You don't want to go back. You don't really. But it was mid-century modern house. It was a Betts house built in the early 1960s, and it was a really happy place for us. And then down the road, there was a similar kind of house, and over one particular summer there was a romance. And the girl...
Ladies and gentlemen, she's here tonight!
It might be possible. I took a little license with the story. But so it really does, for me, every time I sing the song now, because we've been rehearsing, I haven't done it live yet, but every time I'm singing it, I'm down that road, it's Fairfield Road in what my parents always refer to as West Ferry. Not even Ruddy Ferry, West Ferry. That house and that place and that park, Dawson Park, these are all kind of big memories.
The Great Western Road, I was at the gig in Glasgow last night, and it was a lovely novelty to be, as you pointed out, on the Great Western Road in Oranmore. And these songs are, it's on that album cover, it leads you to think all sorts of things. Where does the Great Western Road fit in the kind of canon of Deacon Blue?
As an album, you mean, or a song?
Yeah.
It's very difficult to say. I mean, you just have to, you just do the next thing. It is the next thing. I think, there's no doubt about it. I am 67 years old. There's no getting away from that one. You can leave. The exits are. It's kind of sympathy wave, wasn't it?
They gave you more sympathy in Glasgow last night. These are songs that you can only write at a certain point of your life when you're facing things that, and a really good friend of ours, who I think you happen to know actually, but a really good friend of ours is really ill at the moment, and she said to Lorraine one day, the age that we're at, we're all going down Sniper Alley, and it's kind of true. It's like you just don't know what's around the corner, and I think this record is probably where it should be. I think it's the 10th album. People keep saying it's the 11th album. I can't work out why that is, but I think it's the 10th album we made, and I think it's an album of our age and time. Lorraine,
can I just say that I'm considerably younger than I'm only 50.
That was right on cue.
I noticed Lewis at the end of the crowd, who is actually the youngest member of the band by some number, is sitting there humbly not saying anything. Lorraine, I've said it to you before, and I've said it elsewhere. I think your vocals on this album are absolutely incredible, and I think we heard that. It sounds
like not only are you creating these enormous washes that you're capable of, but you're having a lot of fun singing it too. Was that the way it was for recording?
Yeah, I think you go through your career and you start off, and I think in Raintown I sang over everything. I remember someone wrote you a letter, actually it's from Dundee, about, I'll tell you later, but this guy, I remember reading this letter, and the letter said, yes, really enjoyed Chocolate Girl, despite that girl singing all over it. So I think for a while I thought, oh God, I need to calm myself down here. No. So I think on this record, I felt really free and really encouraged and confident to do what I wanted to do.
Well, that's
thank you.
And there's a song on the album called Up Hope, which I think is one of the best songs that we've ever heard your vocal on, actually. There's a lot of
Oh, well, that's good, because that is a really fun song to do. There's loads of stuff on it and great rhythm in it, and I think it's great, yeah. Thank you.
Dougie, you recorded the album down in Rockfield Studios in Wales, a place that's steeped in history. Tell us a bit about the importance of that place in the history of rock music, but also in terms of what you guys were able to achieve there.
Well, the importance is that, Ricky will hate this, is that Queen recorded there, Sheer Heart Attack and Bohemian Rhapsody, so that the piano that Jim was playing on wasn't the actual piano that Freddie played, but it was one that was put in just after. Amazing piano. And also Rush. Okay.
With some good bands as well.
Yeah, exactly. It was incredible. Jim will give you a list of amazing bands that were there. And it was an incredible place. And you go in there, and it was set up in the 70s by two brothers who are farmers and thinking, this farming lark is shite, let's see if we can make some money out of the music industry. They did it brilliantly, they created this incredible atmosphere, but what they didn't do was decorate. So when you go back down there, you look like you're in the 70s, it's that kind of, the pine panel on the walls, the food's like school dinners, but the place itself is set up so beautifully for us to be as creative as we could be. And Matt Butler, the engineer who engineered Raintown all these years ago, came back and worked with us, and it was a really special kind of time for us, but particularly special because I think Ricky's songs and Jim and Gregor as well were involved in writing. And you said, where does this fit in the canon? I think this is up there. I think this record is one of the best things we've ever done, and genuinely, I love it.
Jim, before I come to you, Lorraine, I'm going to ask you to spill the anecdote that at one point you tried to get me to keep secret, but there's nobody here tonight, right? So it's just between us. About what you, about the graffiti that you put on the wall, or what?
It was a poster.
Tell
when we were leaving, I know my microphone's very loud, I don't want to do that. When we were leaving, we were asked to go into the office of Rockfield and sign something to say we'd been there, and I was looking at all these bands who'd been there, Coldplay and blah blah blah, and I suddenly saw this Oasis poster. And I looked at what they'd written, and they'd written, you made the sandwiches, we made history. She said to the women that kind of made the lunch every day. And the reality was every day we went out and bought our own pieces. So I wrote, we made the sandwiches, you made history.
I do hope
so that was
we get back together just so that we go there and see that. Jim, some brilliant playing from you tonight on, and this is how we remember it, and one of many songs where your work is standing out on this album. I've casually referred over the years to this version of Deacon Blue as Deacon Blue version 2.0. Is that how this feels as one of the founder members of the band?
No. They're the non-originals. That's the way we refer to them. Yes, absolutely. I got a story about Rockfield.
Okay, fine. Well, you answered my question, I suppose.
I've told everybody it's Freddie Mercury's fucking piano. It is. That makes me a liar. Right, do you know what they did? Right, so I was in this, it's a courtyard, like a farmyard, right, so my room was full of flies one night, not because of me. Right, so I told them all that I'd adopted a fly, because, like, they get a real bad turn, right, so I said I went for a walk with a bit of meat round me and come on. And I was like, so there was a fly in the studio and they killed it. No. And that was Kevin. And they left it on top of the piano. And it said, fuck you, Kevin. So that's out there.
Someone take Jim.
That's the kind of guy I am. That's the kind of guys they are.
To answer your question, yes, this is Deacon Blue.
Thanks, Lorraine.
2.0. And these two at the end who have come into the band, who people still call the new guys, even though they've been with us 15 years. They changed our lives, these two, and as a band and as a group of human beings, they are the best two people, and they have made, honestly, this but we do have funny times when we go out after gigs and people are waiting to get something signed, and you'll get somebody shout, Gregor will be so nice about to sign something. Oh no, you're not one of the originals now. It's one of the originals to us.
Oh, you're in Dundee tonight, Greg, and everybody knows you here. And I think to my ears, you have brought something new to the band, as have you, Lewis. Tell me about the simpatico that you've had to build up. You've been writing songs with Jim and with Ricky. Do you feel you're an album, 5 now, writing together?
Wow, I didn't know that. That's amazing.
I think it's 5. I'll keep you right. Do you feel you've developed a sort of, creative shorthand there?
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know how you feel, Ricky, but I felt I was brought in almost by stealth. I was just there as the guitar player, and then Ricky said, hey, come down to the house. And then that was in, 2010, something like that. And, we did demos.
You'll get soon, Rebecca, don't worry. You'll get home soon.
It was by stealth. I'm a prisoner. No, not at all. And so it was more, it happened very organically and instantly sympathetic with each other, I believe. And the process for me is a lot of joy, I have to say. It makes me happy. And not all working situations that you get in music are joyful. They could be productive and wonderful, but it's all those things plus joy. And everybody's involved. And I said last night that Lorraine comes in when Ricky's got, maybe got an idea and he's got me working on it, or, the other way around. And Lorraine's a big part of it too. I call her the editor, because there's certain songs she's saved and there's certain songs that she's chucked in the bin. Is that true, Ricky?
I thought you were going to say ruined.
So I feel the working relationship was just organic and it just happened very naturally, I feel.
Lewis, you told me once a number of years back that you remember being a child and listening to this band in your mum and dad's kitchen. How does it feel now to, can you join those two lines? Because you have been a brilliant and integral part of the band over the past 12 years, or maybe even more than that. Are you able to, are those two things distinct to you?
It's still very surprising, Paul, when you say that to me. I remember we had the Fellow Hoodlums cassette in the kitchen in my mum's house. It's just, I feel like I've grown into it, and I can't really imagine being in a different band now. It's just, it's a wonderful place to be. So, yeah. And then, Ricky was always, when I was a young musician and I was trying to make moves here and there, Ricky was always very, very generous with his ears and would listen to things I'd been doing.
He was a great, he used to come up to me with songs. Lewis was a really lovely singer-songwriter, and he came up to me with a bunch of songs, and I said, listen, if that's what you're doing, I'd play them on the radio right away. They're just great. I loved what he was doing. But right now, we need a bass player.
And also, on this album, and the song Up Hope, you get to play one of the fancy instruments. You're playing the double bass on that, am I right?
Right, yep, 2 of them.
Will we be hearing that or seeing that on tour?
I hope so. Yeah, we've got there's a big yellow case that goes in, so it's going to get packed in its big yellow coffin, and we'll take it out on the road. So yeah, it should be there.
Good stuff. Great. Well, listen, thanks very much for entertaining my questions. It's over to you guys now. What we're going to do is you're going to shout them out. Stick your hand up, shout them out, and I will read.